Hi, I'm Carlin Borisenko. In early 2020, I was the knitting Democrat who accidentally went viral on the internet for going to a Trump rally and then left the party. I became the conservative darling, was on all the shows, traveled around the country, and then realized that conservatives were no better than Democrats. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's that both political tribes are two sides of the same coin. But it wasn't all bad. On my journey, I became obsessed with understanding the woke ideology and the culture war. I broke the story of the city of Seattle doing segregated training with its employees.
How bad has this stuff become? The city of Seattle has now put out, I'm not kidding you, this is according to Dr. Carolyn Borisenko, who's an organizational psychologist. The city of Seattle asked its white employees to voluntarily spend a day off in a training about their internalized racial superiority.
I broke the story that led to the first ever federal lawsuit against critical race theory in the schools. I broke the Coke Be Less White story, one of the biggest anti-woke stories of all time. It got over 30 million views. Coca-Cola's corporate headquarters even had to change their outgoing voicemail.
Throughout the past few days, you may have seen inaccurate reporting on the content of our recently launched diversity, equity, and inclusion training program.
I exposed the schools in Burlington, Vermont for grooming middle school children live on the internet. They called me an unwoke cult leader for that. And the Vermont Human Rights Commission slandered me publicly as being a hate channel. I even got called a hero in Breitbart for exposing that the Washington Post was writing a hit piece on Christopher Rufo. I have broken story after story after story about what's going on in the public schools, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to autistic sex education, to the Department of Education in Michigan, literally training teachers all over the state how to groom children. I wrote a book called Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life. I host a podcast all about fighting back, and I'm downloading all of my knowledge to you on my Substack, carlin.substack.com. The world is a crazy place. We are literally surrounded by cults on all sides. On this show, we're going to do a deep dive into all aspects of the culture war, and I will show you the dark, dystopian underbellies on both sides. Here are the commitments I'll make to you. I will always tell you the truth. I will always bring you receipts. And if you stick with me, I promise you will see the world differently. Welcome to the cult. Please mount that like button for me and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. And I just trolled my own mother over text message, something good, and I can't exactly share what I did, but it's going to amuse the F out of me. Because Joanne, when I have to get texts from you, like bragging about your divorce after 50 years, I'm going to get my just desserts in at some point, and don't think I won't. Anyway. Enough talking about things I shouldn't be talking about on the internet, because of course that never gets me in trouble at all. But we have bigger things to talk about today, my friends. And no, Ben, we are not. No, I'm not doing this today. I'm not doing this. And for those who don't see my chat, the chat knows what I'm talking about. But we have bigger news to celebrate today, my friends, because yesterday was a momentous day. My mother's so pissed off over text right now. I so wish how I could tell you guys how I just trolled my mother. I know you have no context for how funny this is, but let's just it's one of those moments that was just you have to when you have a parent, I'm sure anyone can relate to this. You have to nod and smile a lot and go along with a lot of things you don't want to. And then if you just wait very patiently, very, 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 very patiently, at some point there will present itself a moment and I know you guys have no idea what I'm laughing over, and I can't show you. I wish I could. I really can't though. I will get myself in far more trouble if I do. Um, but let's just say I'm reveling. Okay. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Yesterday, something really, really cool happened. Yesterday, the Montana State Library Commission withdrew from the American Library Association because the American Library Association elected a Marxist to lead it. And this is not one of those things where like people are like ring, oh, they're Marxist, socialist. Like this is not like one of those things where like someone goes on CNN and then all of a sudden Mark Levin is like Marxism, like whatever. No. The American Library Association elected a self-professed, loud and proud Marxist to run the organization. And I became aware of this in relation to the socialism conference that we we watch socialism on my channel rather regularly at 6 p.m. on Saturdays. We do Socialism Saturday. And of course, Socialism Saturday started when I streamed. I know, like I don't know why the Gateway Pundit picks the most awful possible ads to show us. I really don't. It's like it's gross. Anyway, just ignore the ad because we're going to be reading the article, okay? So I became aware of the American Library Association woman when she became scheduled to speak at the socialism conference. And when I say the socialism conference, I mean quite literally, it is a conference that is named socialism. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting that the head of the American Library Association is speaking at the socialism conference? And then there was this guy named Dan Kleinman. Dan Kleinman has been doing the Lord's work. I strongly recommend that everyone follow him. He's going to come on the channel at some point. He's been oh, now I've trolled my brother as well. Oh, they're gonna getting it. Yeah. Yep. I'm the one who's disrespectful. Totes. I'll show myself out now. And I'm going to leave this little chat group. God, actually, hang on. You guys are witnessing a family argument right now. All right, that's taken care of. Oh God. I so wish I could tell you guys what this is about. First time I've spoken to my brother in 12 years because of his bitch wife. And I'm the one that's called disrespectful. Totally fucking worth it, motherfuckers. Anyway. Yeah, you're not winning. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is going all over Twitter. My family's gonna be thrilled. Hey, man, you know what? Don't start shit. There won't be no shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Dan Kleinman is a good guy who would never troll his family via text message like I am trolling my family via text message right now. And Dan Kleinman has been doing the Lord's work. He was the one that first really started reading about like this head of the American Library Association being a Marxist and speaking at the socialism conference. And when I say reading in this case, I actually mean it in a positive sense. Dan was like making a lot of noise. And then so he has actually been leading the charge in Montana to get to help like this library association leave. He's been like spreading it all over the internet. I'm sure he's actually been involved as well. I will tell you that oh, well, honey, I'm very sorry you don't care. Then you won't mind me blocking you. Goodbye. This is already going to be an interesting stream. I can tell. This is going to be one of those things that was starting out as a boring stream, and I can just tell it's gonna be one of those days. So Dan Kleiman yesterday got his wish. He got the Montana State Library Commission to leave the American Library Association. Let us read. Montana State Library withdraws from American Library Association. The Constitution forbids association with an organization led by a Marxist. Let's scroll by those horrible, horrible, horrible ads that we see there. I truly hate that we have to see those types of ads, whatever. The Gateway Pundit reported on recent actions by the leftists at the American Library Association, underscoring how radical the organization is. And at least one state, Montana, has had enough of the ALA's Marxist ways. On Tuesday, a 7-member commission voted to immediately withdraw the Montana State Library from membership in the American Library Association. The commission cited ALA President Emily Dubinsky's public affirmation of her Marxist beliefs as one of the concerns with the ALA. And fun fact, Emily, I was not blocked by Emily on Twitter up until yesterday. I've never even interacted with Emily. I don't know why she would block me on Twitter as of this morning, but she did. During the meeting, Commissioner Tom Burnett requested a letter be sent to the ALA classifying that our oath of office and resulting duty to the Constitution forbids association with an organization led by a Marxist. Before the vote, members of the community shared their concerns, including Bozeman parent Cheryl. I think this is a really good move to send to a really clear message, a really clear signal to our national organizations that we are not in agreement with the direction they are taking these organizations, Tuscan said, likening the motion to the Montana School Boards Association decision to withdraw last year from the National School Boards Association. That decision was fueled by the NSBA's request for federal assistance in addressing widespread threats against teachers and school board members over COVID-19 mask-related mandates and other issues. Threats like the NSBA likened to domestic terrorism. Tuscan and other parents were joined in public comment on Tuesday by Derek, legal counsel for the conservative Montana Family Foundation, and David, a board trustee at the Imagine If Library. Both framed their support for withdrawing from the state library from the ALA membership in the context of national culture war issues, claiming the organization embraces policies tied to critical race theory and uses public funds to, as Ingram stated, undermine truth and natural law. My evidence is that she has quite literally said that she's a Marxist. She has said she's a Marxist. She proudly proclaimed she's a Marxist. This is not theoretical. She said it her damn self. Like, maybe we'll go back up here in this public affirmation of her Marxist beliefs. You want evidence. Library commissioners concerned about National Association's new Marxist lesbian president. Emily Dubinsky, in which she identified herself as a Marxist lesbian. She self-identifies as that, bro. Instead of pursuing the long-term viability of future libraries and supporting the traditional role of acquisition, preservation, and circulation, the ALA desires to inject the library into the vanguard of the culture wars, said Ingram, whose local library's recent struggles with such issues were the subject of an April article in the New Yorker. I'm going to pull that up to read later. Fellow Imagine If trustee Carmen, who sits on the Montana State Library Commission, spoke in favor of and voted for the ALA withdrawal. And here is what we're going to be watching today, guys. Here is what we're going to be watching. We are going to watch the entire meeting that occurred yesterday in Montana to see for ourselves what the people of Montana had to say about the American Library Association, what the American Library Association is doing, the leader of the American Library Association, how they feel about that, and ultimately withdrawing from the American Library Association. In June, the Gateway Pundit reported on the overtly political actions of the ALA director, Deborah. On a Zoom conference call, Caldwell Stone gave tips to libraries on how they can keep control and handle conservative events, including ways to disrupt the experience for conservative families. Oh, isn't that nice? When asked by a viewer to clarify what she said, Caldwell Stone used an upcoming events by conservative actor Kirk Cameron as an example. Stone shared in the meeting. Actually, you know what? Let's just watch the video. No, God, not more gross ads. Wait, the video was in this earlier. What the fuck happened? Hang on. I know the video was in this earlier. Maybe I need to go to the tweet. All right, let's actually just watch this and you guys can see what the American Library Association is pushing. Not that. Not that. Jesus Christ. Wrong. That was an article. Hang on. It's going to be one of those days. Okay, let me get the sound up.
Library Association. Here's a clip from director Deborah Stone Caldwell on a Zoom conference she held with librarians across the country with specific instruction on how they can handle our See You at the Library event happening August 5th. Check this out.
Could you clarify what you said about Kirk Cameron room booking?
You're a public agency. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of Caesar's coin there. You're committed to non-discrimination in the provision of services. So if someone wants, who's eligible to use the room, books the room and has a Kirk Cameron story hour, they're entitled to do that. The law protects their ability to do that. But what you can do is exercise your own speech as an institution. Public libraries actually have their own right to engage in government speech, to make clear what their mission is, who they support, what their goals are. And so if you have a Kirk Cameron story hour booked in your library, you could actually have a library-sponsored Pride Festival the same day and fill the library with rainbows and have other programming in place. You can put posters on the wall that make clear what the library's mission and commitment to inclusion and diversity is. As people walk in, you can make sure that there are anti-harassment provisions in your behavior policy. There are many steps you can take to make it clear where the library stands while observing your obligations as an institution obligated to follow the First Amendment rules, which do apply to every user in the community.
Well, that kind of sounds like the American Library Association has just a slight little bit of bias to me. But you know what, guys? We don't like taking anyone's word for it. We do like watching for ourselves. And we got a little bit of a video to get through today. Now, for those of you who don't know me, might be new to me, just don't judge by the fact that I started this stream off rather haphazardly with family bullshit and drama that I'm dealing with. But here's what I like to do on my channel. We do deep dives on my channel. We do not do clips. We do not do TikTok videos. Normally, we do not take things out of context. We watch the entire series of events from start to finish. The reason that we do this is, yes, it takes more time. Yes, you can't just get your 5-minute, wrap up video. But the thing of it is the only way that you can really know what's going on in the world is to sit back and listen for yourself and see what people have to say within the full context of what is happening. Now, of course, we will never be privy to every single thing in the world that happens. But when we're watching long form video, this video is going to be 1 hour and 16 minutes long, and we'll probably do commentary and talk about it in between. I want you to be able to see for yourself and judge for yourself what people are actually saying, what issues they're bringing up, not just the things that people with the bias in either side of the media want you to see. I want you to see the whole thing for yourself. And that way you can decide, is this something I'm comfortable with? Is this something I'm not comfortable with? So today on the stream, we are going to be watching this entire meeting. We're going to be watching it first because I'm going to be covering this on my Substack, which is carlyn.substack.com. That's KARLYN.substack.com. And I'm going to be covering this. Hang on, I'll show you the Substack. I'm going to be covering this in a couple different ways over on the Substack. I wanted to wait to watch this meeting with you guys before I covered it officially. But on my Substack, I cover what is going on in the anti-woke space. None of the bullshit, none of the drama, none of the outrage porn, none of the clickbait. If you're looking for outrage porn or clickbait, I promise you my site is not for you. But if you are looking for nuanced takes that are completely devoid of tribalism from either side and just don't really like woke authoritarian nonsense, you can head over to my Substack and subscribe for free. You can also support the work I'm doing by signing up for $5 a month, $50 a year. As a reminder, I will be raising the prices on my Substack to $8 a month or $80 a year at the end of the month. The reason I'm raising prices is I want to get my pricing in line with other people on Substack who have roughly the list size that I have. I think that just makes good sense. And so, if you want to get in at the current pricing, you will be grandfathered in when I make that change. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks, plenty of time to sign up in between then. And then you get to stay at $5 a month, $50 a year forever. And I really do appreciate it. I am completely 100% grassroots funded, and I can't do it without you. And I will be covering this issue, both what the Montana Library State Library Association did, but also I'm going to show you who the head of the ALA is, because she is a Marxist, as we talked about before. This is not up for debate, and I'm going to show you evidence of that coming up pretty soon, hopefully tonight. And if you are signed up on the email list, you will be able to get access to that. So thank you guys for checking that out. I really do appreciate it. We have got a lot of stuff to do today, so we're going to get right into it. I'm going to recommend everyone go grab yourself a coffee, a tea, a water, a beverage, something stronger if you want to. And we are going to be watching the July 11th Montana State Library Commission meeting to find out for ourselves exactly how the Montana State Library Association left the American Library Association due to its Marxist leadership. Guys, please mount that like button for me. Mounting the like button lets YouTube know that you are enjoying the stream and you would like other people to come join us. And I do just want to do a shout out over to those on Rumble who are watching as well. Yes, they're enjoying the family drama over on Rumble. I'll tell you guys all about it someday on a late night stream when I've had a few. It'll be fine. All right, guys, let's get this party started.
All right, and meeting is being recorded.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Let's move forward with a productive, efficient meeting. I apologize in advance if my internet may not be cooperative after the storm we had here last night in Bozeman. Zoom meetings can be difficult anyway, so please be respectful of time and let's give everyone a chance
raspberry
to
craft beer, Bonnie. That sounds delightful.
I'd like to call this meeting at 10 o'clock. Let's begin. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to introductions. I am Peggy Taylor. I'm usually in Whitefish, but I'm joining today from Bozeman. I am acting chair. I'm going to turn it over to Jenny, and I'm going to let her handle that as we have a new commissioner.
I'm also going to be cutting up some more t-shirts to do this shoulder thing as we're watching this, if you guys wonder what I'm doing. I'm doing a craft.
And this morning, I want to say a special welcome to our newest commissioner, Brian Rossman. Brian is the librarian appointee of the Office of Commissioner of Higher Education, and he has just recently joined the commission. This is his first meeting. Brian is the Open Educational Resources and Scholarly Communications Librarian at Montana State University in Bozeman. And Brian, we're so glad to have you join us.
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you very much. I'm very honored and pleased to be part of the commission.
Welcome. Jenny, do you want to just let them know who other commissioners are?
Sure, happily. We're also joined by Robin Scribner from Geraldine. Robin is an appointee of Governor Gianforte. Tammy Hall, or Tamara Hall of Bozeman, is also a governor appointee. Tom Burnett of Bozeman is a governor appointee. And Carmen Cuthbertson of Kalispell is our most recent governor appointee. And then Elsie Arnson, the superintendent of public instruction, is a member of the commission. I'm not sure if she's on yet. She said she'd be joining us shortly.
I think I misspoke. I don't see Tamara on Zoom, so she might not be in yet. Sorry, people were pouring in. I thought I saw her name, but now I don't. Just as a heads up.
have dropped off.
Okay, sorry.
I don't see her. I don't see her on.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Let's begin to on to our topic. Is there a motion pertaining to this business item?
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Yes, Tom,
I'll read it.
please.
I move that we immediately withdraw from the American Library Association and discontinue any further payments, except for existing contracts, to it or its subsidiaries. The body of a letter to the ALA is as follows. Dear Executive Board and officers, the purpose of this letter is to announce the Montana State Library's immediate separation from the American Library Association. Our oath of office and resulting duty to the Constitution forbids association with an organization led by a Marxist. Sincerely, Montana State Library Commission.
Can I just say, what I love about this is, okay, so sometimes those of you who are involved in like commission meetings like this know that like in order to get things done, sometimes you need to like beat around the bush. You need to like obfuscate what you're really doing. You need to rely on just a better understanding of rules and process than your opponents, like whatever. What I effing love about what the Montana State Library Commission did is they just went for it. They were like, we are leaving because you are a Marxist led organization and we don't believe in that. And that's not, it's just like, it's so like people who are involved in things like this can attest to this in the chat. Things like this are never put this straightforward in these types of environments. There's always deflecting and flowery language and bullshit. I love that they were like, no, you're leaving because you are a Marxist-led organization. Full stop.
Is there a second?
I second that.
It has been moved and seconded. Genevieve, do you have the motion so I can repeat it?
I don't. I got the first half of it. So I have we
Would you repeat?
we immediately
the
withdraw.
Yeah, I'll go slow.
Hang on, let me do this really quick. I'm going to screen share so that you can make sure that I am doing it correctly. Can you all see my word screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we make it bigger so you guys can see. I'm sorry, give me one moment. I just want to do this clearly. Okay, anything? Go ahead.
I move that we immediately withdraw
Okay.
from the American Library Association.
Okay.
And discontinue any further payments except for existing contracts.
Continue. Sorry. Any further payments and
Except for existing contracts.
Got it.
To it or its subsidiaries. Period. The body of a letter.
One sec. Except for existing contracts to its subsidiaries.
To
this
it
is
or its
so
subsidiaries.
like this is so commission meeting. It's not even funny.
Okay, so that is your main motion. Do you want to just include that we would send a letter, or do you want the body in the motion?
I do want the body of the letter in the motion so that the commission doesn't spend time trying to draft a letter to accomplish the purpose.
Right.
So the second sentence is the body of a letter to the ALA is as follows.
Hang on.
These meetings are an exercise in patience. This is why
Dear
you all need
Executive
drinks
Board and officers.
and snacks or activities.
Okay.
The purpose of this letter is to announce the Montana State Library's immediate separation from the American Library Association. Our oath of office and resulting duty to the Constitution forbids association.
Hang on 1 second, sorry. Resulting. What came after duty?
To the Constitution.
Duty to the, okay.
Forbids association.
They are going to do like
With an
public comment and stuff and talk
organization.
about it. That's why we're watching this, just so people know. It's going to get spicy. But I believe in watching everything from start to finish. So it is what it is.
Led by a Marxist. Sincerely, Montana State Library Commission.
Okay. Put on one page.
Can I give another fun fact about my family? I know this is like an interesting mishmash of family drama and like an actual stream, but I promise this fun fact about my family actually relates to this. So, the dispute that's happening right now with my family via text message that I'm not going to tell you about involves my brother and his useless bitch of a wife. And she's going to be thrilled that I said that on the internet. But the reason I bring this up is I shit you not. Before my useless bitch of a sister-in-law forced my brother to stop talking to me, the very last Christmas present that I got from them when that all happened was a collection of essays by Karl Marx. I'm not even joking. They literally gave me a giant collection of essays about by Karl Marx. I know who came up with that gift, all right. And now you all understand. Now you all understand. And guess what? My sister-in-law works in the schools too. She's a fucking school psychologist. So double enemy. And I hated her before I left the left, and I still hate her now. She's just even worse. now everyone in the chat's like, oh, we understand. We know what the problem was. We know what the problem was now. See, it all comes back around, doesn't it? Anyway, I promise I'm going to stop talking about things I shouldn't be talking about on the internet, whatever.
You want to change withdraw to withdraw?
Thank you.
I actually still have the essays by Marx
right.
too. I never read it back then, but I
It's
have
been
actually
moved
used it
and
now.
seconded that we immediately withdraw from the ALA and discontinue any further payments except for existing contracts to it or its subsidiaries. The body of the letter to the ALA is as follows. Dear Executive Board and officers, the purpose of this letter is to announce the MSL immediate separation from the ALA. Our oath of office and resulting duty to the Constitution forbids association with an organization led by a Marxist. Sincerely, MSL Commission. Is there any discussion?
I don't know why I'm all spun up about my brother today. I usually don't even think about it, to be honest, but it's just one of those days. Must be something in the
just a point of
stars.
clarification, since I'm very new, do we swear an oath of office on the commission?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you'll be receiving this, Brian, and it's, let me read it to you. The state of Montana, county of Gallatin in this case. This is my oath of office. I, Thomas Burnett, do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Montana, and that I will discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Library Commission with fidelity, so help me God. Second paragraph. In addition, in accordance with Montana Code citation, I certify that my signature below is my true and correct manual signature. And then it has a place for a date and a signature and the officer administering the oath.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. I wasn't aware of that yet, so thank you. Could you perhaps explain a little bit further what you mean by the Constitution forbidding association with an organization led by a Marxist?
That's a great
I'm not
question.
quite
I
sure
have
what you
actually
mean
been
by
asked
that.
that question about this in the past 24 hours.
Yes, very briefly, Marxism stands in direct opposition to the principles of the Constitution of the United States. It's fair to discuss and learn about Marxism, but not to affiliate with Marxist-led organizations.
Any other discussion from commissioners?
No further
So
discussion.
I
Let's
think
vote.
I would
Oh,
just
wait.
observe that the president of the American Library Association is largely a ceremonial role. The officer does not really have any authority to dictate policy.
You're telling me that the president of the association, who is elected into that role, doesn't believe that she has the ability to dictate policy within the American Library Association? Bullshit.
Even though she claimed in her on her platform, I guess, when she was running for office, that she would direct the organization to do so. She doesn't
Exactly.
have that authority. She's only in
She's a
place for a
fucking
year.
president.
ALA itself is certainly not a Marxist organization.
Then why did they elect a Marxist?
And there has been quite a bit of testimony from the state library that there's a great deal of benefit that comes from belonging to the American Library Association. I think that it would be unfortunate if the state library were to withdraw from ALA and therefore would no longer be part of the conversation nationally within our profession.
What benefit?
I think there's a lot of benefit that comes from belonging to LA with regards to professional development. And as I said, participating in the conversation, having a voice. I think that it would be, this seems like a rather drastic response to one individual's politics. And I think a better approach might be to send a letter to ALA expressing the commission's disapproval with the.
This asshole literally wants them to send a sternly worded letter. Has a sternly worded letter ever actually accomplished anything? Can we just dispense with the idea of a sternly worded letter?
President's politics, but to withdraw from ALA seems to me to be a very drastic response.
We don't need no stinking sternly worded letters, Brian.
I have a question for the staff, I believe. How would it affect the libraries that we serve if we would withdraw membership?
Wouldn't.
Thank you for the question, Peggy. As is noted in much of your public comments and in your meeting materials, we do get access to resources through the American Library Association.
Like what?
Support for funding that helps support the offset of costs of broadband, professional development resources.
So you get funding from the American Library Association. You get funding from them, but don't you also pay them to be a part of the American Library Association? So you pay them a fee so they can then give you your money back. That makes total sense.
Etc. And while we would not lose access to those resources, should the state library withdraw our membership, the funding, the $1,000 membership cost that we pay does help to fund those costs. I think a greater concern might be the loss of influence that we would have with the American Library Association to address some of the concerns and differences of opinion that exist between the state library and Montana libraries and the American Library Association.
Well, you wouldn't want to lose influence, would you? I am in a bitchy
Go
mood
ahead,
today.
Carmen.
What is going
From
on?
the materials I have seen, we didn't spend $1,000, but $15,000 per year that went to the ALA. So
That was fantastic. This woman is like, we only spent $1,000 and we got access to all these resources and influence. And then this woman swoops in and is like, it wasn't $1,000. It was $15,000. Slight difference.
I don't think the cost is $1,000 a year. I think it's more. It's $15,000 as far as I know.
Where did you see that?
$15,000.
Madam Chair?
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Tom.
That was
Oh
from the
God,
state
it
checkbook
is.
just in
What are
fiscal
we
year
even doing here?
2021.
Why are we
So that's not
talking about this?
consistently year to year. The actual dues are 1,000 plus other subscription expenses and
What
materials.
are you
But that
paying
was the 14,000 was
$15,000
from
for?
2021. That was an outlier year.
Yes, Carmen.
So what is the cost in an average year? Do we have that? Or any kind of idea what it is on average?
I would have to go and look at this $14,000 expenditure that you're referencing because I'm not familiar with it. The only known expenditure with the American Library Association is our annual membership. But I'm happy to go and take a look at the additional charge that you're referring to.
Our membership invoice is included in your meeting materials, and it's $1,000.
Where do the rest of the fees go to? Where's that $15,000 number coming from then? It's probably hookers and blow. You're probably right,
Any other
Murphy's
comments
Pool.
by commissioners? We're saving public comment till the end here.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Tom, do you, looking at that checkbook, can you tell me what those expenses were for, the additional 14,000? Can you tell from the checkbook what that was for?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
There were about 4 or 5 entries in that fiscal year, and they weren't very well detailed, but that was definitely an outlier year.
Yes, this is where they find out
Madam
that they have
Chair.
been fleeced for at least
Yes,
10
Elsie.
years by the
Thank
American
you.
Library
As Montana
Association.
State Superintendent, I look at literacy very
Oh,
seriously.
oh, oh,
I look at
you,
how
hang on, hang on. I just want everyone to look at this woman. Can we all guess what side of the aisle this woman is from? So, Montana State Superintendent, that's warning number 1 about what tribe this woman comes from. Another warning is red glasses. Another warning is that she's very concerned about our children in schools. Can anyone guess what side of the aisle this woman comes from? Pop quiz. Let's all just see if we can get it right. I know I have my opinion. Where do you think is she from the right or the left? Oh yeah. Yeah. She's on the left. She invoked the word literacy. Left. Yep. Fucking Sally Jesse glasses. Left. Every ALA side. Yeah, let's see if we're right.
organizations also impact education across our nation, but also in our state, in our very rural schools, in our rural communities. So in dealing then with the State Library Commission, yes, it is about that dollar impact. I want to be careful about the discussion with professional development. I believe our new commissioner, speaks about how important that professional development is. And I believe that. But I also believe in this statement that is here. I believe that if we withdraw, we rebuild. And we recognize the importance.
We were all wrong. We were all wrong. We misjudged her. Oh, let this be a lesson to all of us. We should not judge so soon, to me included. She's in favor of withdrawing. Holy shit. You could knock me over with a feather right now. I am genuinely shocked. This is a lesson for all of us. Sometimes we can be snarky little bitches, to include me. I apologize to you, Montana Superintendent.
Of where professional development, either from a national level or from a state level, can be for our librarians across our state to promote literacy, to enhance literacy. So I'm in favor of this motion. I believe we can rebuild. I believe that
I really feel like I need to email this woman and
reauthorize
apologize. I really
later
do.
if
I am
indeed,
sorry. I was
after
wrong.
years' time, the American Library Association has a different leader or a different path. But I am in favor.
You only get $2 if you disagreed with me. You don't just get $2 because I'm wrong. You have to have been right. That's how the $2 tip jar works. Is like, if I'm right and you are wrong, you owe me $2. And if I'm wrong and you are right, I owe you $2. But if you're not right, which none of you were, I saw that chat. Don't snake me out of a $2 super chat.
Of this motion at this time. Literacy in our state is so important of all ages of Montanans.
Any other discussion? Carmen?
I'm in favor of this motion because I agree that this is a 1 year re-upping every time.
They
So
can
we have a
join
choice
again
to
after a
see where
year.
the ALA goes.
They can join again and they
in
don't
the
have to leave
future, and
forever.
we can always join them again.
Exactly.
I researched a little bit how the election worked to be president of the ALA, and the current president worked very hard to become president. And I definitely see an agenda and a purpose when somebody works that hard to become president of an organization. And I would have liked to see somebody say, you know, I am honored to be president and take this venerable organization forward. And that thought was not expressed by the current president, which is kind of sad. So I support this motion, and I think that we can always check back in with the ALA in the future. It's not like we're losing the opportunity to join a great professional organization in the future. We can always do that.
It's a very good point. No now doesn't mean no forever.
I call the question.
Oh, I love this bitch. I love this
Any-
bitch. Anytime you're in a meeting and you're like, enough of this debate bullshit, you just go up to the mic and you go, call the question. And then everyone has to stop and they have to vote.
Since we are done with discussion by the commissioners, are there any public comment? But I'd like to say, we're going to limit you to 3 minutes. Please raise your hand and Genevieve will recognize you and keep track of the time. We'll start with public comment.
Okay, first one is Anna Shemalinen.
Yeah, hello?
Okay,
Yes.
Anna, I'll start recording the time now. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Anna Shemalinen, and
Hang on, we have a very important super chat from Queen Beth of the chat. Hang on, it's got to load. Queen Beth says, so Carlin, do you have any recommendations for what color glasses I can choose to prevent political assumptions? I mean, if you choose any color, you're probably going to get political assumptions. But you know, Beth, I saw you in, I think, purple glasses the other day. I thought that looked quite good. These are red glasses. I do need to get a new pair of glasses because I've had these for a while now. And so, I mean, I like a good red pair of glasses. I mean, whatever color floats your boat, Beth. I have a lesbian haircut. I mean, come on, like, you know, do what you like. But I thought the ones that I saw the other day looked very lovely. Thank you for the super chat.
Immigrant from the USSR. I grew up in a country that in real life practice implemented the theory of Marxism. 6 out of 7 of my grandmother's siblings, her parents, her husband, her oldest daughter were murdered by Marxists. My husband's great-grand uncle served 12 years in Gulag. My great-great-uncles also served in Gulag and he didn't survive it. In her comment, Susan Gregory wrote that Americans don't leave the US because they don't like or agree with the sitting president of the US. Yes, they don't leave the country, but many Americans who respect their moral principles leave the party when they think the party betrayed their principle. I'm absolutely sure that you wouldn't have any discussion about whether to stay in LA if the elected president would openly promote slavery or declare herself a national socialist. Marxist socialist is supporting of red terror, Gulag, Golodomor, Stalinist ethnic cleansing, Red Brigades, Great Famine of China, re-education camps, genocide in Cambodia, prison camp in North Korea, prison labor in Cuba, forced child labor and sex slavery in Venezuela. I think that there is no need for more arguments supporting
public
the decision
comment.
to leave the organization that elected a Marxist socialist as president. Thank you.
Based public comment. Wait, what a way to start off.
Okay, I'm gonna lower your hand down. Next one is Star Bradley.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Star Bradley. I'm a professional librarian here in Montana, and I just want to express my support for remaining member of ALA. And I have some questions for the commission. One of the commissioners stated that it is states specifically in the Constitution that it's unconstitutional to belong to an organization led by a Marxist. And I'd like to know where exactly in the Constitution that is stated. And also another commissioner mentioned
They don't have to
that
answer.
the president of ALA campaigned very hard to become a president. And that means that they have an agenda and that we shouldn't support somebody who campaigns that hard. And I think that's a very bad precedent to set. So are we saying as libraries in Montana that if you feel very strongly about something and you campaign hard for something, that's a bad
Exactly,
thing?
Rottweiler.
That doesn't seem like a good thing to me. ALA as an organization supports libraries and supports libraries in every state in many ways, not just funding, but also supporting librarians, libraries, professional development.
How?
Giving libraries a greater voice.
So they teach you to be
nationally
Marxist
than they
and
would if they
activist?
didn't belong to ALA. So I think withdrawing is a very extreme
Why do libraries in Montana need a national
idea,
voice?
just because we disagree with what one person in the organization thinks, especially since this person has retracted what they said at this point. So I just want to go on.
This person has absolutely not retracted that they are a Marxist. They absolutely have not. That is a flat lie. Socialists always lie. You always got to even if you like them, even if they're nice, even if they hang out in the chat like Autumn does, never, ever, ever take your eyes off these people because they will always lie.
On record as giving my support for not withdrawing from ALA. Thank you.
Okay, and next one is Jennifer Pippin.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for allowing the public to speak on this issue. So I definitely support in getting removed from the ALA, and I think this needs to be done nationally, not just there. I really commend you guys on looking into this and taking public comment and looking into this. So the ALA, we could see across the country, has been infiltrating the schools. They have been providing sexually explicit content and pornography and putting a American Library Association stamp of approval on, children's literature across the country.
Just to be really clear where they're getting that, the American Library Association has a partnership with GLSEN, GLSEN is an organization we've known about for a while, but recently only broke into the public consciousness because of their partnership with dun 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 Target. GLSEN is an organization, is a far left organization that provides activism materials in your schools, that sponsors the gender sexuality alliances and rainbow clubs in your schools. This is the organization that is teaching your kids to be the next generation of queer activists without even telling you what they're doing. This is an organization that is pushing materials into your schools, that is actively pushing the queer agenda and radical gender ideology on your kids without you knowing what's going on. And the American Library Association thinks they're just great. They support them wholeheartedly. That's what this person's talking about.
And we're just now finding these, these books in schools because we always trusted the librarians. We always trusted the ALA to do best by children. And unfortunately, at this time, we're finding, again, across the country, not just with you guys, that this is not good. And anybody who would support, the Marxist president, even if she did withdraw it, those are her views. Those are the views that she's going to try to push into her organization and the people that work under her. So again, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the consideration in removing from the ALA. Let's put the power back within the communities, within parents. I'm sure if you get many community members and people who would love to help, look at books or help with professional development, look at educators and the trainings that they're going through, and not going through the ALA as a Marxist organization led by a Marxist person. Again, even though they retract it, that's where their values and views stand. So again, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And definitely let's break away from the ALA and build back better, and, make a better
Did she just say build back
organization
better?
or, foundation for, getting a different organization in here.
Not
Thank
the
you.
correct phrase, but all right. Or
The next one
ironically.
is Matt Beckstrom.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. To the members of the Montana Library Commission, my name is Matt Beckstrom, and I'm the elected Montana chapter representative to the American Library Association by the Montana Library Association. A member of the Montana Library Association Board,
About to be
and a
put out of
librarian for over
work.
20 years in Montana. For over 60 years, the Montana State Library has been a member of the Library Association, American Library Association. All libraries in the state benefit from this partnership, including public academic schools,
He's like,
special libraries.
save my
The
job.
LA provides access to resources, grants, federal assistance, national advocacy for funding and in support. The ALA also provides the most significant policy lobbying office in Washington, D.C. During the pandemic, the ALA provided support and assistance to many libraries around the nation. As librarians and librarians, we need this partnership to continue through the state library.
No, you don't.
The current ALA president, Emily, has made a comment on Twitter that some commission members objected to. This comment has led to the discussion of the withdrawing from the state library from this membership. The statement she made by Emily was not unconstitutional to the United States Constitution. It was not against the Montana State Constitution, nor does it go against any rules or statutes of the state of Montana. Her comment was made on a personal social media site and does not reflect the beliefs, the values, or the direction of the entire ALA or its members. The ALA is a nonpartisan, nonprofit, member-driven association. The ALA president is a one-year volunteer position that is a spokesperson for the association. This role cannot change the association without ALA staff, the executive board, the ALA council, and the entire membership approving changes. If you truly want to make a change in your association, stay in and speak up. Don't walk away. Almost every state agency as a member of a national organization provides support and resources to them. It connects them with people and agencies around the nation. Pulling the Montana State Library away from the ALA will leave the state library and potentially every library in the state unprotected and without any support. Every professional organization.
Hang on. Reagan says, I work in Montana politics, so I'll tell the superintendent you apologize for calling her a socialist. She's very right-leaning. I really do feel bad now. I really do. Listen, next time I'm in Montana, which I would, side note, Montana is one of like 10 states I have not been to. I would actually love to go to Montana. Montana looks beautiful. If you have any suggestions about where I should go in Montana, let me know. But when I eventually do come to Montana, I will buy her a drink and apologize because I actually do feel bad now. I really do. So thank you.
Organization relies on a network of connected individuals, access to resources and support and assistance from other organizations to help them stay current, active, and useful. And this is especially true for libraries. I realize your decision only affects the Montana State Library, but the state library has many needs, from funds, support, assistance, and access to resources provided by the ALA. Disassociating the state library from the ALA tells the other libraries in the state that the state library does not trust or believe in the association. Your decision to separate also says you do not trust the amazing staff of the state library to make their own informed
what could
decisions,
possibly go
evaluate
wrong?
resources from ALA based on their own education, knowledge, and experience. Taking away the ecosystem of professional libraries and librarians from the state library is telling them that their hard work does not matter anymore.
25 more seconds. Go ahead.
Last time the ALA faced this was when states were separating affiliation. ALA was during the 1960s, when some southern states objected to desegregation of libraries and state chapters. And now you are asking the Montana State Library, and through it, all public school and academic libraries, to do the same.
Oh, the horror.
I'm asking as a librarian and as a citizen of Montana for you to not start isolating our state library and potentially all of our libraries from the ALA. The $1,000 we pay is more
Time
than
is up.
time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Time
so
up.
much.
Ding.
Okay. Sorry, my thing's going. Okay. So next is Ann Kish.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for this time to speak with you. I'm coming to you today. My name is Ann Kish, and I'm bringing public comment as in my role as the Montana chapter president of the Montana ACRL. The ACRL is the Association of College and Research Libraries, which is the division of the American Library Association that supports and furthers the work of the academic libraries in Montana.
I was going to say she was a leftist, and I didn't
ALA
want
makes
to.
it possible for
I knew she
Montana's
was a
academic
leftist.
libraries to share our research regarding best practices
My earlier mistake
in
made me
all
question my
library
judgment.
types. The Montana ACRL urges the Commission to maintain membership in the American Library Association. The ACRL encourages the Commission to learn more about the scope of the work that's supported by ALA, which is our shared professional association, and to learn more about how every facet and branch of ALA intertwines.
Wait. You're telling me the ALA sent in a ringer to testify on their behalf? You know what happened with this, right? The ALA called this woman. She didn't do this on her own. They called this woman and it was like, hey, we work together in these commissions. You need to go testify on our behalf to the Montana State Library Commission and tout our relationship and our shared professionalism and blah, 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 blah. They brought her in for this. This was not organic. I hope everyone sees that.
To impact and contribute to the profession in its entirety. The ACRL, all branches of ALA,
they were like,
and
read
most
this statement.
Importantly, Montana library users will benefit the most by a commission that refuses to relinquish that valuable seat at the table that comes with membership.
Every organization
Montana's
does this.
voice is important to ALA's many conversations and is the only mechanism by which the Commission and the State Library are able to affect change in ALA. The mission of ALA is to provide leadership for the development, promotion, and improvement of library and information services and the profession of librarianship in order to enhance learning and ensure access to information for all. ALA has 50,000 members, so there are going to be many ideas about how to best achieve that mission, and we aren't always going to agree. I don't know a librarian who agrees all of the time with ALA.
Hang on. Philosophus says, who knew the library world was so intense? Well, I'm going to quote Henry Kissinger, and he said this about higher education, but I think the same also applies to the library world. The politics are so vicious because the stakes are so small.
What we will always have as members is a professional association that supports us in our work and that gives us a voice at the table. Montana ACRL urges the Commission—
30 more seconds.
Montana ACRL urges the Commission to claim your voice at the table and hold ALA accountable for achieving its mission. The Commission will be unable to affect change by removing itself from our important national conversations. Thank you.
Okay. Next is David Ingram.
Morning. My name is David Ingram. I'm a trustee at Imaginative Libraries. I wholeheartedly support the move to separate from the ALA. Instead of pursuing the long-term viability of future libraries and supporting the traditional role of acquisition, preservation, and circulation, ALA desires to inject the library into the vanguard of the culture wars. The ALA is a taxpayer-funded organization involved in creating the curriculum for future librarians. I fear that many of those dominant in the library decision-making process desire to participate in reshaping our society with a Marxist bent. It receives over $210 million in public funds, yet uses these funds to
$210 million? The ALA receives $210 million? All right.
undermine truth and natural law, the very foundations of Western civilization. Current examples of the organizational mindset include the induction of a self-proclaimed Marxist as president who supports sexually exposing children, union-led political strife, socialist politicians, and pushes explicit and far-left material. She has been said to believe that collective power is possible to build and can be wielded for the better world. I fear her definition of better. The new president has multiple videos focused on teaching librarians how to subvert and inject hard left politics and sexuality into their publicly funded work, with titles such as Teaching the Radical Catalog and her top-cited work, Queering the Catalog. Another quote, we can also help.
She wrote something called Queering the Catalog. As a reminder for those who might be new to me or those who are just tuning in because you're interested in Montana libraries for whatever reason, the word queer is not a sexual orientation. The word queer is not a gender identity. It doesn't matter you do not have to be gay to be queer. You don't have to be trans to be queer. You don't have to be queer to be trans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at something like gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, those are all identities that a person has. Queer is a far left political ideology. Queer is not about who you are as a person. Queer is a far left political ideology. And what they've done is the queer activists have hijacked the LGBT movement in order to advance their far left political ideology, which is why so many people are confused about transgender activists versus queer activists versus, LGBT people who are like normal human beings that just want to live life and be left alone. And like these queer activists that are doing crazy things and like looking crazy and going to protest and having mostly peaceful protests with fire in the background. Those are queer activists. Okay. We really need to separate the two. But the fact that the president of the American Library Association wrote a piece called Queering the Catalog, anytime you see the word queer show up, it does not mean gay. It does not mean trans. It means a far left political ideology. Now, under that far left political ideology, there is, of course, they use whatever they can in order to advance their agenda. So are they going to use gay and trans stuff to advance their agenda? Well, sure they are. Absolutely. Are they going to use race when it makes sense to advance their political agenda? Yes. They will use whatever they can to advance their political agenda, but make no mistake about it, their political agenda is Marxism and everything else is just a distraction. The stated goal of queer theory is to destabilize the norm, destabilize normative culture, destabilize heteronormativity. What that means is the world basically as it currently exists, anything that like the average person does, the goal of queer, wherever it shows up to include queering the library catalog, is to push against the norm, to destabilize the norm, to disrupt the norm. Because as we all know, the four goals of the woke left are always and forever the same: gain as much power as possible, destabilize the system, attack capitalism, usher in their Marxist utopia. When we're talking about queer, those are their goals. It's not about gay people. It's not about trans people. It's not about any of those things. It is only about gaining as much power as possible, destabilizing the system. They destabilize the system to create problems. When those problems cause people pain, they say, you know what's to blame for your problems? Capitalism. They use the problems that they themselves create to attack capitalism. And then once people are all riled up because they got all these problems and they're experiencing all these pain, and everyone's saying this is capitalism's fault, it's capitalism's fault, it's capitalism's fault, they say, have you thought of Marxism as an alternative? Because the only way that the Marxists, like the head of the American Library Association, are going to be able to bring about their little Marxist revolution is by creating pain so that people blame capitalism for that pain. So they're looking for an alternative. If people are happy and things are going well, there is no reason to disrupt our current system. That is the entire goal of queer. Every time you hear the term queer, you have got to stop hearing gender ideology, gay, trans. Don't hear that. You need to hear a far left political ideology that is explicitly trying to destabilize the system and cause chaos to cause as much pain as possible so that they can usher in their little Marxist revolution, because that is exactly and precisely what it is.
Help build a way of shaping students as agents of change, both inside the library and out. Another ALA director was quoted as saying, library workers are on the front line of some of our most pressing social justice issues, and they are no longer relegated to the reference desk.
That's not a feature.
They consider libraries a social project and librarians as activists. In 18, they distributed buttons emblazoned with radical militant librarian. In 21, they issued a resolution to condemn white supremacy and fascism as antithetical to library work. These are lofty aspirations indeed. However, the devil is in the details. I am unsure what definitions those words have today. The technique of redefining words to fit the current narratives so that they can censor items they dislike, all the while claiming they are just protecting the public from the most dangerous and extreme literature.
I want to talk to this guy.
They have no interest in providing a balanced collection with a wide range of perspectives. To me, it's patently obvious.
30 more seconds.
Thank you. They foster an attitude of discouraging offerings not consistent with their progressive agenda. The ALA uses the public library as a front to introduce Marxist propaganda and child sexualizing material while excluding alternative perspectives which they deem as violent and extreme, so as to protect the public from misinformation. But it's not censorship. I say drop them. Thank you.
This guy's the best. That guy rules.
Next one is S. Gregory.
Hi, I'm Susan Gregory. Can you hear me?
Oh, leftist,
Yes.
leftist,
Okay, great. Thank you.
leftist.
Commissioners, thank you very much for the chance to visit. I'm Susan Gregory. I'm the Bozeman Public Library Director, and I do want to comment on the situation.
Exact
I want to be
leftist.
very honest and tell you, I think this is a really sad time for all of us. I've been involved with ALA for more than 40 years. It's been an association that has brought all kinds of training on literacy, both for adults and children, all kinds of training on staff management, many, many things related to libraries, things that I have benefited from over my career and that my staff benefits from. I want to speak to the conferences that happen once a year. 15 to 20,000 people from around the world come together in a major city.
Oh, you won't get
and
to go to a
hundreds
conference.
of programs are put on. I have yet in
a
all the years I've been
conference?
going to conferences to see any kind of program on Marxism, communism, or why it's important to take one political stance or another. What's unfortunate about this current president's statement, and I find it to be a very unfortunate statement, is putting your personal politics into a situation where it's inappropriate. My personal politics would never be of any interest if I were running for ALA
We all know your
president. It
personal
should
politics.
be more a conversation about what am I going to do in this brief year as president to better the libraries in the United States and to better serve the librarians and communities in the US, not to tell them whether I'm a Democrat or Republican or what. So I do find this very sad and frustrating. I want to remember and help you all know that the experience of the Montana librarians speaking this morning is based on years and years and years of productive work with an association which is not extreme, which does have a reasonable and moderate core, serving on the ALA Council for more than 4 sessions. The ALA president is a figurehead. Unfortunately, she made that statement about being a Marxist, but frankly, she doesn't really run the organization. The executive director does, and the more than 100 ALA counselors from states all around the United States, all 50 states, have fierce discussions, healthy discussions, and we make those decisions. So I wanted to clear up that misunderstanding. Hopefully we can move forward. And the last thing I want to say is
30 more seconds.
I really hope that we'll remain only because we do need to have a voice in this conversation. I'm very concerned if Montana pulls out that we will be ignored and we will have no means to change anything. Thank you.
Next is
Maybe a useful idiot.
Derek?
She might be a useful idiot. She actually doesn't know that this stuff is going on.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of
She
the
just wants to go to her conference.
I'm Derek A. Stryker, former Chief Deputy Attorney General for the state of Montana, current Chief Legal Counsel for the Montana Family Foundation. Today, the Montana Family Foundation rises in support of the Commission's withdrawal from the American Library Association. Without repeating some of the comments that have gone before me, I'll try and keep my testimony brief. On April 13th of last year, ALA elected Emily Drabinski as the new president of the organization, and she's a self-described Marxist lesbian. Ms. Drabinski shared her vision for the ALA in a press release that same day, and I don't think anyone's...
Hang on, I got a super chat from Rottweiler. Thank you, Rottweiler. Please, do you think they would allow books like The Gulag Archipelago and Eric Hoffer's The True Believer to be in libraries if they had their way? No! Of course they wouldn't. Of course not. You're absolutely right.
Quoted from that press release, but she said, quote, consequences of decades of unchecked climate change, class war, white supremacy, and imperialism have led us here. We have a lot of work ahead to build collective power for the public good. End quote. Ms. Drabinski's vision for the ALA is entirely inconsistent with Montana values, and we're glad that the Commission is moving to withdraw from this organization. Her vision is already taking root at the ALA. A quick look at the ALA's website shows how the priorities of the organization have shifted. You might think that the focus of the ALA would be to promote literacy and foster education and ensure access to information, but one of the primary focuses of the ALA is now listed as diversity. In fact, it's such a priority at the ALA that it's created an Office for Diversity, Literacy, and Outreach Services, which, again, I'll quote from the website, quote, uses social justice framework to ensure the inclusion of diverse perspectives within our profession and association, end quote. The ALA has also announced, I'll quote from the website again, that one of its goals is to prevent, quote, inequities, microaggressions,
Fucking
power
microaggressions.
and privilege,
God.
white privilege, gender privilege, able-bodied privilege,
All of this is
etc.,
Marxism.
from impacting library spaces every day, end quote. This is synonymous with the type of critical theory that has been determined illegal by a recent Attorney General opinion from Montana's Attorney General Austin Knudsen. So while the office of the president of the ALA may have been historically ceremonial, it is clear that the political ideology and the vision that Mr. Drabinski has brought is being carried out by the organization as a whole. So on behalf of the Montana Family Foundation, we support this motion and we encourage the Montana Library Commission to withdraw from the ALA. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Diane.
Good morning and thank you. Can you hear me all right?
No.
Yes.
None of it was an
Thank you.
exaggeration.
I do support withdrawing from the ALA. I don't believe you compromise with depravity. It should never be acceptable to expose children to sexually explicit material. And whatever perceived benefits there are coming at too high of a cost. I'm losing, or maybe more accurately have lost faith and respect in the education system, as it seems to be more bent on Marxist indoctrination rather than education. These
Smart
institutions
woman.
are being infiltrated by people and entities to push deranged, depraved ideologies. And they're becoming radicalized and weaponized against us and our children.
Yes, they are.
So I strongly support withdrawing from the ALA. Thank you.
Cheryl Peskin.
Okay, another quick comment about my inappropriate family issues. I'm going to laugh like so hard because my brother's kid, as a reminder, my brother's bitch wife, my sister-in-law, which I don't even like to call her, is a school psychologist that is doing this bullshit. My brother's child is about to start school. I'm just saying, like, I don't root for any children to be indoctrinated into gender ideology. But if my brother's child comes home someday and announces that they're really a girl, and the school psychologist sister-in-law backs all this bullshit up, I am going to I'm gonna get a text from my mother someday, and it's gonna go, you don't have nephews anymore, you now have nieces. And I'm gonna go, okay, well, I hate to say I told you so. Anyway, let's keep going. I know you guys don't care about that, but whatever, it's my stream, I'll do what I want.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commission. I really appreciate you guys opening up this venue and discussing this. This is a very bold move in which I am in complete support of. Just like the Montana School Board Association voted to withdraw from the National Education Association, or the National School Board Association, for calling parents who go to school board meetings domestic terrorists. I think this is a really good move to send a really clear signal to our national organizations that we are not in agreement with the direction that they are taking these organizations. A little bit about myself. I am here in Bozeman, Montana. I've been working for several years with different parents, trying to help them to use their voices and go through the proper channels with the public.
And my sister-in-law would do that too, because she's one of those people that care what other people in the neighborhood think of her. She's like the total like virtue signaler, like facade. Man, I know I'm like going on like like total like she would be one of those people that would be parading her 5-year-old trans child around the neighborhood, like waving the effing flag, saying, "Look at us, look at." Okay, I promise I'll stop. Okay, sorry.
Schools and the as well as the public library to remove inappropriate books that are not age appropriate, that are definitely pushing sexual content and stuff that just young minors should not be exposed to. What we find over and over is a passing the buck, a kicking the can down the road. And the teachers say, well, this was approved by that person and this association. And really what it comes back down to, all of the roads seem to be coming back to the American Library Association and the list of books that they recommend for these age groups.
See, Andre is very amused by my family drama. Just for that comedy line, here's a tip laughing my ass off. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And so here's what's about to happen. You guys ready for this? That horde of insane lunatics on Twitter that hate watch every single stream I do, they're going to be clipping this shit. I promise you. They're like desperately trying to figure out who my brother is right now and who my bitch cunt of a sister-in-law is. And they're going to try to find them. And if they find them, they're going to be like, do you know that Carly called you a cunt on the internet? And then said you were going to trans your child. But they're never going to figure it out. So good luck. Happy hunting. Bonnie, subsidizing Autumn's free speech. Why does Autumn need subsidized free speech? Autumn hasn't been banned lately. Anyway.
Groups of 0 to 5 years old, 5 to 9 years old, whatever, and then your young adult sections. So I think this is a very appropriate move. I've been very impressed with some of the other comments already given. And so with that, I will leave you to the rest of your meeting.
Everyone
Thank
who
you.
has difficult families empathizes with me, and I know it's true.
Dr. Joe Malone.
Yes, thank you for having me. I have a PhD in health and human.
Oh, hang on. Hey, oh God, lefty. But we got to get a super chat from Rottweiler. Rottweiler, which is why book banning doesn't work. Schools do send us teachers to attend SEL conferences. It's always circumvented. Yes, that's exactly right. Book banning doesn't work, Moms for Liberty, because the minute that you get one book out of a library or a classroom or whatever the hell, do you know what happens? They get like 5 more to replace it. And then you spend time chasing your tail trying to figure out those 5 books. And then once you get one of them out and you're patting yourself on your back and you're having your big national conference saying, "We support Hitler." Okay, they didn't really say that because someone's going to clip that out of context. But while you're patting your back on yourself on the back for getting that one book out of school, the woke left has replaced it with 5 more that you don't know about to keep you in a constant game of chasing your tail ad nauseum forever, while they are at the same time implementing policies that you don't even know about that cement their gender ideology into the curriculum and into the administration, and you don't know about it because you're spending all your time focusing on which book should we ban today. It doesn't work. And by the way, teachers can teach whatever they want to when the classroom door closes, and your school boards that you've been spending all this money celebrating, we're taking over school boards. School boards don't even have control over the curriculum unless you live in the state of Vermont or the state of Connecticut. Moms for Liberty. Okay. Kristen says, loving the humor tonight. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you guys are amused at my family bullshit. Let's keep going.
Performance with a specialization in sexual wellness. So I work with young people often in trying to prevent the damage that early sexualization impacts them with. So, and again, we might keep in mind that the most vulnerable time of life for the human brain to be affected by these types of things is the adolescent years. It's the most plastic that it's in the lifetime. So we're talking about a real vulnerable time in their lives to having some of these sexualized materials put in front of them and put in their school libraries.
Who has control over curriculum? Well, I mean, you could say the administration has control over curriculum because they order the books, and technically, like, the school board does approve the budget that orders the books, but you know, it's not really. But like the person who has control over the curriculum is the teacher. The teachers have control over the curriculum. The teacher, like I said, guys, when Autumn, I'm going to get to that in a second. When the classroom door closes, the teacher can teach whatever they want. They can show stuff off the internet. They can print worksheets off the internet. You can order, hang on, where is it? I have a social justice teacher planner that I bought for like $8 on the internet. Like, I didn't need to go through anything to buy this social justice teacher planner, and it has all sorts of social justice things and social justice lesson plans in it. Teachers can teach whatever they want when the classroom door closes. It's just the way it goes. Tim Pool's sister, Lisa Pool, appeared in Sam Cedar's chat and was talking shit about Tim. She even said she's a regular Sam Cedar fan. Also, Tim Pool's dad is a regular. I mean, I love Lisa. I think Lisa's great. I mean, Lisa and her dad and their dad is a little bit of a lefty, so it doesn't surprise me that they watch Sam. Autumn, how's it working with have you gotten me on Sam's show yet? You had an assignment, Autumn. Lisa was telling us that Tim yelled at, yes, Tim did yell at her in front of her kids. Tim has done lots of fucked up shit to Lisa, to be honest. Lisa was on the stream talking about it a while ago. Anyway, Autumn, you have one assignment. And that's to get me on Sam Cedar's show to complain about Tim Pool. Did I see Chris Rufo's short documentary? No, I think we're going to watch that tomorrow. I haven't watched it yet. Anyway.
As well as, of course, a lot of other places. I'd like to add to what Mr. Ingram was saying earlier, as far as the history of the ALA with this kind of issue, by adding a few more details. The ALA had a history in the early 2000s of being challenged.
I want to know if
about
Autumn can
350
actually get
times
me
a
on the
year,
show.
over materials like Harry Potter's, the Harry Potter books and that type of thing. But starting in 2016.
So, Andrea, what you're going to learn is that if you say, why do you care about this so much? What I'm going to do is say, Andrea, what I need you to do is I need you to go and make a calculation of how many hours I stream live on the internet every single week. And it's about 3 hours a day, if not more. Some days I do more than 3 hours a day. So it may actually, the average may be like 4 hours a day. And then what I want you to do is do a calculation of how many of those 3 to 4 hours a day that I spend talking about Tim Pool versus how many of those 3 to 4 hours a day I spend talking about other things. And what I need you to do is come up with a percentage of time that I'm talking about Tim Pool and let me know what that percentage is. And then we can have a conversation about why I care so much about Tim Pool, because he was brought up by someone in my chat for less than 5 minutes on one of my 3 to 4 hour streams that I'm doing this week. So let me know when you have that figured out. And, welcome. We're really glad you're here. New people are always welcome. But, I do require work of my audience. And if you're going to make accusations like, why do you care about Tim Pool so much? Then I'm going to say, I want to know what percentage of my time I actually spend talking about Tim Pool versus other things. Go forth and conquer. We'll look forward to your answer.
In 2017, they started training their activist librarians to collude with activist authors, publishers, and book vendors to begin pushing sexually explicit books for all ages. And that continued on, and particularly between the years 2020 and 2021, there was a sharp increase from 600 in 2020 to over 1,600 in 2021. So there's been a track record here, particularly from 2016 forward, and especially again starting in 2021, of really increasing the numbers of objectionable materials in the library. So again, coming at this situation from the perspective of a professional, health professional, I can't think of one positive effect that having these types of sexualized materials could have on young people in this very vulnerable time in their lives by having them available and being pushed by people within the schools. So again, as a professional, I would recommend against that. And
30
again,
seconds.
Good man.
thank you. And it's really important, I think, that we keep our materials that are in front of young people age appropriate. Thank you very much.
Good man.
Jesse Browning.
Good morning. My name is Jessie Browning from Billings, Montana. I'm a mom and member of Moms for Liberty, Yellowstone County. I have brought my
Actually,
kids to our
local
public
Moms for
library
Liberty,
since they were
usually
babies.
okay.
However, in recent years, there's been a very noticeable shift.
I just want to make a point for any Moms for Liberty people watching. When I'm shit talking Moms for Liberty, I'm shit talking national Moms for Liberty. Local Moms for Liberty chapters tend to be okay. They tend to just be like actual moms that actually just want to do stuff. So when I'm shit talking them, I'm not talking about the local chapters unless I specifically enumerate a local chapter, and then I am talking about them, but usually not.
Shift in the direction of children's books purchased and children's programming options, which has caused me some pause in frequenting the library. From baby board books promoting drag queens and gender ideology mixed into bins in our toddler area, to colorful picture books depicting such things as a pride parade with hairy men dressed as women tucked in your books like if you give a mouse a cookie, to Pride Center projects in our Teen Tech Lab, the library has already been a place to promote gender ideology and confusion among our children. Many moms I've spoken with have simply stopped bringing their kids to the library due to this, or they will pick out books online only to be, or they pick out the books online only to be picked up at designated sites. They feel their parental rights to keep their children safe from ideologies that seek harm upon kids in the family unit has been invaded upon by the public library. Marxism always promotes division among groups. Division is always the point. Those who proclaim to be Marxist, such as the current ALA president, understand they need to get to the kids and indoctrinate them into ideologies that seek to break the natural God-given bond between a child and a parent. They seek to create confusion, and what better way to create confusion than promote gender ideology and other sexualized material upon vulnerable, impressionable children whose brains are not fully developed till their mid-20s. The best way to divide kids from their parents is to confuse them, and sex is the perfect tool. Drabinski has used.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this mom listens to me. That would be funny. If this mom for liberty specifically listens to my content, please reach out and either confirm or deny. I mean, if you're reaching out and confirming, I'm going to say that you're listening to my content, but I would bet money this mom has listened to me on more than one occasion.
YouTube videos that are teaching other librarians how to inject hard left politics and sexuality into their publicly funded work. And on her Twitter feed, she openly supports exposing kids to sexual topics. When adults are arguing that kids have a right to pornographic material, they're coming from an ideology that assumes kids are sexual from birth. This idea stems from Alfred Kinsey, who sexually abused kids as young as a few months old in the name of performing his fraudulent research. Please sever ties from the ALA. Stop funding a group that they chose the leader. She openly promotes Marxism with our taxpayer dollars. They knew full well who they were hiring when they chose her. Her teachings, comments are all over the internet. The cost and the damage done to our children here in Montana far outweighs any possible benefit. Thank you so much.
One moment, sorry. Robin Steinman.
Someday I'm going to do a school investigation of the school district my sister-in-law works in.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What
and
could possibly go
thank you
wrong?
for giving us a chance to speak. I have heard people attest that the personal beliefs of the president of the ALA do not reflect on the actual ideology or operation of the ALA. All evidence is to the contrary. The ALA curates and promotes an annual rainbow reading list in which it pushes sexualized LGBTQ plus books into school libraries for kindergarten through 12th grade. Per the ALA, the number of obscene books jumped from 600 in 2020 to 1,600 in 2021. The doubling of inappropriate content before children is clearly agenda-driven. The ALA is a large proponent of the 2022 Right to Read Act, in which it seeks to take obscene, age-inappropriate, sexualized, radical books, pornography in many cases, and redefine it as, quote, culturally diverse. The ALA makes itself look larger than it is through the Right to Read Foundation and Libraries Transforming
Stop lying,
Communities,
White Wizard Alex.
partnered with LGBTQ organizations such as Glisten, who recently made headlines with their partnership with Target to push trans material to children. The ALA, quote, Office of Intellectual Freedom is even on the record with a Zoom call by Deborah Caldwell Stone, giving advice to librarians on how to skirt parent complaints and concerns over these inappropriate books and to get in front of legislation it does not like. When parents in our county read these books during our school board meeting public comment, they were muted for fears of FCC penalties for obscene language. A YouTube video in which a grandmother read excerpts from these books was recently deleted by YouTube for violating its sex and nudity policy. The notification went on to say pornographic or sexually explicit content that is meant to be gratifying is not allowed on YouTube. And yet the ALA pushes it before our youngest. The fact that the ALA is led by a Marxist is absolutely important because the ALA is using tenets of Marxism in the sexualization and radicalization of children, thus breaking down America's families. Thank you for your time.
Next is Dana
Canva.
Gonzalez.
Canva's easiest.
Yes, hi. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it so much. I just wanted to say that I trust that the Montana State Library Commission will make the right choice to withdraw from the American Library Association. And I'm just going to simply put it this way. We ought not promote, celebrate, or support what Scripture condemns. And for time's sake, I just wanted to say a couple of scriptures.
Hang on, I just want to say something to our new member, Andrina. It's cool, girl. I don't actually care that much about Tim Pool at all, but you know, sometimes I have to talk about him because other people are. But I really don't care that much at all. I care far more about socialism than I do about Tim Pool. But stick around for a little while, pull up a chair, and you'll find out what I care about and what I don't.
That condemns what Emily has stated. Leviticus 20:13, if a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
Wrong. No.
Deuteronomy
Bad
22:5, a woman shall not wear a man's garment,
God
nor
damn
shall
it,
a
why do
man put a
conservatives always
woman's
have to make themselves look homophobic?
put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things
Bad
is an
conservative.
abomination to the Lord our God.
Okay, so why I am saying bad conservative is this woman is less pissed off about the head of the ALA being a Marxist than she is about the head of the ALA being a lesbian. This is like everything's going fine. Everyone's focused on the Marxism. This is all going great. And then we've got the Christian conservatives, moral majority, swooping in to crash the fucking party and being like, no, guys, you know what the actual problem is here? She's gay. That's the real problem here. God damn it.
Proverbs 17:15, he who justifies the wicked and who condemns the righteous are both alike an abomination to the Lord. So I hope you consider this, especially Proverbs 17:15, when you make your own personal decision on this. So why should we protect our children? Matthew 18:6 says, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned in the depth of the sea.
She just called for the death of the president of the ALA. Does this woman not realize that she literally just called for the death of the president of the ALA? Bonnie, thank you for the super chat. I super chat for all seasons. Thank you, Bonnie. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate it.
Please do not be deceived. We are to care for our children and promote good books. There are so many out there, and we need to do such that for our children, for our future. We know that the enemy is on. He is moving quickly. He knows his time is ending quick.
It's not a man.
So please protect our children. And from what I'm hearing from other comments is that you're very dependent on the ALA, which I think you should be.
Hang on, we got a super chat from Rottweiler. Oh my God. I wonder if she also follows the other 600 commandments in Leviticus, wears mixed... Well, they always wear mixed fabric and eat shellfish, but those don't count. You want to know why? You want to know why, Rottweiler? Because shrimp are really good, okay? Lobster's really good, and they don't want to give that up because you know, that sin doesn't matter. God was just joking when he said, thou shalt not eat shellfish or wear clothes made of 2 different cloth. They weren't serious. It's only the gay shit. And it's definitely not that, you know, God was saying, don't commit adultery on your wife, which is kind of what actually was being said there is like, don't commit adultery on your wife by going and fucking men. But no, that's the only thing that matters is the butt sex. That's it. Not the rest of them. Mwah, Bible. Exactly.
be more dependent on the smart individuals that you've surrounded yourself with. Don't be reliant on government-led things. The government is not for us. It's truly against us. And the
30
leadership
seconds.
that is being put in place is evil. So please don't be deceived. I'll be praying for you. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Christians are not half as serious as Muslims about this shit.
Star Emery, I think maybe your hand is still up from your previous comment. Is that correct?
I haven't made a comment. That was
Oh,
Star
I'm
Bradley.
sorry. Got it. Okay, thank you. Go. I'll start your clock. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name's Star Emery. I'm here in the Billings community, and I just wanted to touch on a couple things. I am a foster parent and a parent. I work extensively with special needs kids and also kids with trauma in our community. And I think it's essential that we understand that the ALA's leadership is an appointed position, which means that it is representative of what the position, the corporation believes in and supports. That would be a Marxist individual. That is concerning. When we're looking at Montana being a leader, that means that we need to stop allowing organizations to dictate how we educate our children. Proficiency in Montana has been grossly lacking for quite some time, and actually dropping. Agendas have become the focus as opposed to education. And it's concerning to me that this is also happening in the libraries. My students do not go to the library anymore because of this problem. They cannot walk in and pick out a book in the kids section without being assured that there will not be sexual content in that material. If we continue to associate with an organization with Marxist ties, that leader will absolutely have influence into the individuals in the organization, into the libraries that are participating in that process, and into the lives of our children. If we want to stand as a leader, then we need to do so by separating from the ALA.
Is this real?
I am 100%
really?
in support of this and have spoke to numerous parents in the community that are also in support
How do you know?
of this.
I want to reference.
And I think it's
sources,
important that we
please.
listen to those parents. The one thing that I do want to mention too, that I think is really important, is that Montana needs to take care of Montana. We do not need to be focused on what the nation is doing until we have learned to take care of ourselves. So we can educate our librarians and continue to provide professional growth and do the research and stand firm in what our core values and beliefs are. We can lead and rise up and focus on educating our children, increasing the literacy of our community, and then we can actually utilize that as a voice amongst other people. Thank you.
Next comment is from Bill. Bill, you're muted. If you are speaking, we can't hear you.
Oh shit, did I fuck that up? I did fuck that
How's that? Sorry.
Now we may hear you. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I just pulled up their website, and it says National Library Week kicks off with a highly anticipated annual list of the top 10 most challenged books in the state. And it says, and here's a list of the books: Queer Gender, All Boys Aren't Blue, The Bluest Eye, Flamer, Looking for Alaska, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And these are all books that promote children exploring some sexual identity other than a male or a female. And they also, some of them have some very explicit.
That's what Perks of Being a Wallflower is about? I don't think so.
Pornography content in them. So to say that the ALA doesn't push this stuff, this is on their website. That's all I have to say.
I don't think Perks of Being a Wallflower does that, but okay.
Okay, Peggy, that's the last of the hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. And there have been several chats. I hope you've been following along, commissioners, with the chats that have been coming through. There was one question directed at you, Tom, about the Constitution. Would you like to answer that?
No, Tom, don't answer it. No.
Madam Chair, I think I've already covered that. Thank you.
Good job. Good man.
Jenny, would you like to give us some final thoughts?
Madam Chair.
Oh, there's Tammy.
Yeah, I was on, but I couldn't see or hear. I had technical difficulty. So, but thank you for the good meeting you're running. I just want to share that I think the purpose of the library is twofold: to help the librarians do their job and to help the public in their needs. And I agree with all the people who have said, I have read through all the materials on the ALA, and I see absolutely no reaching out to parents, to families, to their needs, to what people, it seems to be an advocacy group for what they politically and personally and professionally want. And I think that's fine if you're an independently owned library, but once you take taxpayer money, once you're funded with government money, you become responsible to the public. And I really feel like in Montana, our libraries need to be responsive to their patrons, the people in the library. That includes parents. We're all responsible to help protect our children. And so, and I agree with everything Tom has said and what he's done and all the comments that have been made. And I'm really grateful this topic has come up. We are Montana. We need to serve our children like Montanans, protect our children like Montanans.
Thank you.
Robin has her hand up. Peggy?
Yep, go ahead, Robin.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for all the public comment. It has helped perhaps not just make our decision, but it has helped answer questions. I do believe that the ALA does do a lot of lobbying for libraries to attain additional funding, and they also lobby for library rights. They do good work, and the president for 1 year shouldn't make that much of a difference. But historically, this organization has moved to focusing on ideologies and taking stands on those over and above other ideologies to the point where it has devalued any ideology that is different from what their ideology is. And it's put that ideology, if I can repeat that word again, over and above the rest of their patrons. I also am in favor of withdrawing from ALA.
Peggy, there's one last public comment that I might have missed.
I see that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Alba?
Good morning, board. My name is Alba Pimentel. I am the chapter chair of Moms for Liberty, Yellowstone County. I'm a parent, and yesterday we attempted to have a discussion at our local library concerning the gender ideology agendas being pushed on children. We were bullied by the LGBTQ community for wanting to have a discussion. The ALA Marxist president constantly promotes the same ideologies and concerns we brought up yesterday. It was 3 of us moms, and we were told not to bring anyone and to be peaceful. That is exactly what we did. We sat in a room with over 100 LGBTQ members, bullying us, having us as parents, as we were directly attacked, mocked. We were listened to. We listened to over an hour of opposition while media was present. As you can see clearly now, we're going through the same situation we were yesterday. It was not a tolerant discussion. It was one-sided. That is not what the library is about or for. The library is for our children, all children, even those with moral or religious beliefs. The American Library Association is destroying our libraries with their ideologies and creating division with their Marxist agenda. Please keep our children protected in Montana and withdraw from the ALA and follow our duty to the Constitution. Put the power back to the parents and the taxpayers. Thank you all for your service. Thank you.
Jenny?
Thank you, Peggy. First, I just wanted to clarify the question about the one-time funding that Carmen referenced in the state checkbook. Carmen, that funding went to pay for trainings offered through United for Libraries, which is a subsidiary of the ALA specifically for trustees. So it pays for training for library trustees.
So in other words, that $1,000 membership fee that they're paying, they're like, we're only paying them $1,000. Well, no, because they paid them an additional $15,000 for training for God knows what, and God knows what that training actually was, but that was an additional fee in addition to the $1,000 that they already paid. How it works, well, at least I'll say this, like with the HR organizations. Like if I as like, so for a while I was doing training, like I was like a certified trainer with the Society for Human Resources Management, right? I don't really do that type of training anymore, so I don't need that membership anymore, but for a while I did. And the thing with like the Society for Human Resources Management, which is like the largest HR organization, it's like the HR world's version of like the AMA or the ALA, is that you pay them a fee, and for that fee, which is I think for sure like a couple $100, whatever, you get access to all the resources. You get access to like their helpline, you get access to their training, you get access to all this stuff. You don't really have to pay additional fees unless it's like a big event, like the big annual conference, which I never had to pay for anyway because I was always presenting at it, so I got that for free as well. But like you pay one fee and then you get everything. It sounds like to me the ALA was like, give us money just to say you're associated with us, and then give us more money if you actually want to do anything.
And it was a one-time payment. The other point that I just want to be able to make is that I have said over the years that I too have frustrations with the American Library Association, and I'm certainly not here to defend the American Library Association. But as is reflected in the conversations that we've had today and in the comments that we've received, there are points of view on both sides, and much of what's been expressed here is well reflected in the record, and some of the points of views are not accurate. And I'm not going to debate those here. The point I want to make is that the role of the Montana libraries, the Montana State Library, when we help libraries that are facing these kinds of tensions in their communities, is to bring people together to the table to have those kinds of conversations, to listen to one another with open minds, and to try to find solutions that best reflect our entire communities. And my concern with this action is that it does not model our own practices as a state library in trying to bring people together. We visited at length with staff about their points of views, and none of us feel like this is the kind of issue that we want to object to and see as growing the gulf between the staff and the State Library Commission. But I do want to emphasize that this action of leaving the American Library Association does not reflect our practices of trying to bring people together.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Tammy.
I'm sorry, Jenny, I'm not clear on what you just said. What I'm hearing, and I'm not sure it's right, is that you're not going to object to this as a staff, but I didn't understand what it was you were saying. You do agree with they're not trying to bring people together, or could you help me understand better what you just said?
Sure. It's the practice of the state library when we are working with libraries facing these very kinds of conversations in the community to encourage community members to come together to have these kinds of conversations and to try to find resolution together. And
well,
I
hang on, I just want to pause and take Illustration Stations chat, because this is important. This could be an important first win in a battle most people don't even know is happening. I mean, Marxist control in general. So what I want you to think of this as is, do you remember when the National School Board Association basically like came out on the side of the Biden administration by attacking parents going to school board meetings, speaking up about this issue? And then because the National School Board Association did that, all these state school boards decided to disaffiliate from the National School Board Association, which means they stopped sending them money. What's going on here with Montana disaffiliating from the American Library Association is exactly that. in the library world. So it's not like the first win, but it is the first win in the library world, which the library world is so effing woke. It's ridiculous. So in that sense, like the reason that you're seeing this story on all major media outlets and like someone said in the chat earlier, this is on like Fox News's homepage, right? The reason that this is such a big deal is because what they're going to try to do is use Montana leaving the ALA as the first domino to get all other state, or at least all other conservative state library associations, to also publicly leave the ALA because of this. So yeah, this is really important. It could be like the start of a chain of events, and it's going to be fascinating to watch what happens.
So like leaving the American Library Association does not give us the voice to try to find resolution and doesn't mirror the practices that we advise to libraries.
So are you saying that if you stayed in the ALA, you think maybe you could change them?
I wish I could. I've been trying to express my concerns for quite some time, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't keep trying.
Okay.
Carmen?
As a patron, I didn't know much about the ALA before, and I've researched a lot because of this issue before us. Before I researched them, my impression was that this is a organization that promotes best library practices, and that's their job. And in my understanding as a trustee, which I've now been for a year up in Kalispell, one of the best practices is to look at circulation data, look at what gets checked out from a public library in your particular town, wherever you are, in your community, and then to purchase books based on the demand. So the practice of sending out book lists and telling your followers or your email list or whatever people you have access to go check out books on a particular list totally distorts that one objective way for libraries to manage their collections. And to see that practice from the ALA itself looks to me like they have gone so far away from promoting healthy, good library practices. That is shocking to me. They're basically acting in a way that undermines best practices for public libraries. So having researched what they actually do, I can no longer believe that they promote best practices for libraries, which to me is what their job should be. So I've seen them gone completely off course, going activist and not really serving the library community anymore at all. So I'm in favor of us sending a really strong message and not contributing any more money to them and removing ourselves completely from that organization.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just want to thank everybody who wrote letters, but I also want to point out that one of the librarians who did not agree with the ALA was afraid to give their name because of the personal attacks this person would be open to if they didn't follow what I would call the woke agenda being promoted by the ALA to our librarians. And I think that says a lot. I think that this they against us against them, us against them, that the ALA has made such an effort to promote. I think it has created an atmosphere where a lot of people feel afraid to address what they feel and what they believe and what they stand for. And I think we've all experienced that in our lives, but it's really sad when the association that's supposed to represent you doesn't leave room for any diverse opinions, even if your diverse opinion represents in Montana overwhelmingly what the majority of Montanans believe. And so that's a really sad work comment to me, that anybody has to work in an environment where they have to live in fear. And I think a lot of the librarians I've talked to feel that they cannot speak out in the present environment. The other thing that really struck me, along with what Carmen was saying, when I read through all the AL materials, they do training, but their training is very, very one-sided. They are not trying to train people to do their job better of reaching their communities and finding out what their communities needs, how they can help their communities, how they can help their families in their communities and the children who use the books. Their workshops were aimed at how to advocate politically for what we want, how to advocate for our philosophy, how to get the books we want into the library. And they even stated as young as preschool children. And so I think that's a really sad commentary on a group that should be providing training across the board. It's a very dangerous group, I think, because they do not represent in Montana. I can't speak for other states. I'm sure there are states out there that are absolutely thrilled with the one-sided opinion and direction the ALA is going. But in Montana, this is not acceptable. And I just am very grateful that we're having this chance.
All right, we've had our discussion and we've had our public comment. Seeing no hands raised, we will now vote on the motion, which is we immediately withdraw from the ALA and discontinue any further payments except for existing contracts to it or its subsidiaries.
This was yesterday.
The body of the letter to the ALA is as follows. Dear Executive Board and officers, the purpose of this letter is to announce the MSL immediate separation from the ALA. Our oath of office and resulting duty to the Constitution forbids association with an organization led by a Marxist. Sincerely, MSL Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Madam Chair, can we have a roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call, mother efforts.
We'll begin with Tom.
Aye.
Elsie.
I didn't hear Elsie. Did she say one?
Aye. Here.
Okay, thank you, Elsie.
Carmen.
Aye.
Tammy.
Aye.
Robin.
Aye.
Brian.
Nay.
Fucking Brian ruins everything.
And I am going to abstain. Is that everybody?
Yes.
Almost unanimous except for
motion
fucking Brian.
passes.
God.
Is there any other business or announcements?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we had discussed at our last meeting that we would be able to get as a board or as a commission, the copies of the legal opinions that were given to us for our decision-making. And so I just want to make sure that I didn't get all the addresses and materials for a while because my email with the state was not correct. But I want to make sure, Jenny, have we received the legal opinion that the library cannot stop children from reading anything they want, regardless how young they are? We were told that was the law, but Tom and I asked for that legal opinion. Have we received that?
I need to go back and check, Tammy. I thought that came to you last fall.
That's what I was thinking, and I went back to my fall records and I could not find it. If that is my fault, I apologize. But could you give us, the commission, another copy of that? That was what we based our e-communication policy on, that we could not have any say in what children read in libraries, was a legal opinion that said we're not allowed to. And I just would like to see that legal opinion.
Certainly.
Any further business? Our meeting is adjourned.
Yay!
Thank you everyone for attending and your.
That's it, guys. The Montana State Library Commission has officially left the American Library Association. I know that sometimes those meetings are a little pedantic, but I do think it's important that people see that this is the actual process that you do need to go through to get things done. Sometimes you have to learn to sit through boring things. And I thought some of the testimony was really good. I thought that that one woman who was just quoting Leviticus probably, could have thrown a wrench into things, but it is a really great outcome. Like I tried to explain before, this is the equivalent to when school boards start, like the state school boards started leaving the National School Board Association. When Marxists take over your professional organization, stop sending them money. After all, they're Marxists. They can figure it out. Maybe if we stop giving them money and we stop giving them resources, they will stop trying to, disrupt the country so that they make it impossible for the rest of us to make money in the way that we so choose. Because, of course, Marxists in their perfect Marxist utopia want the community to assign all the jobs. Doesn't matter if you want to do it or not. If you want to eat, you will do the job they want you to do. And if you choose not to do the job they want you to do and say, can I please have another, sir? They will say, no, you just won't eat until you do the job that we want you to do. So, it's a nice little lesson for them that they don't get to eat unless they do the job we want them to do, I suppose. Guys, I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. And remember, later today, I'm going to be posting some stuff on my Substack about this. I'm going to cover the issue in general. I'm really glad I got a chance to watch that meeting. That was really helpful. I'm also going to show you who the president of the American Library Association is. Going to do a little report on her. So that's going to be coming up on my Substack later on tonight. Please make sure you are subscribed. You can subscribe for free, and everyone should make sure they're subscribed for free because I create the most unique, unwoke content on the internet, breaking down the woke left ideology bit by bit in plain English, in words that anyone can understand, teaching you how to recognize when it's going on in the world, explaining how things show up, explaining what their real agenda is. Of course, always bringing receipts for everything I do because I believe that you should be able to look for yourself and see what's happening and then decide for yourself what you're comfortable with. It's not my job to tell you what you're comfortable with. You get to decide that for yourself, and I just give you the tools and resources to do so. If you want to sign up for that, head over to Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com, and you can check out some of my work there, including the queer theology expose, including some resources to explain equity to people, including I even answered the question last week of why is time white supremacy? There is actually a logic behind this, and I did explain that. If you do want to support the work I'm doing, please consider signing up for $5 a month or $50 a year. Remember, I am 100% completely funded by you. I can't do it without you, and I will be raising the prices on my Substack at the end of the month to $8 a month and $80 a year. So now is a great time to get signed up because if you sign up at $5 a month or $50 a year, you get grandfathered into the old pricing. Isn't that nice? All right, guys, that is all I have. Please mount the like button on the way out the door, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Bye.